A heavy silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the soft hum of failing systems. The crew of 12, representing 6 different species from across the Galactic Union, exchanged worried glances. They had volunteered for this mission of exploration, pushing the boundaries of known space. Now, it seemed they had pushed too far. Captain Solar's mind raced. As captain, it was his duty to ensure the safety of his crew. He had led them into this situation. He had to find a way out. Eris, cycle through all known emergency frequencies, even the ancient ones. Valrek turned to Syraxis, begin rationing our supplies. We need to stretch our resources as far as possible. As the crew sprang into action, Solar retreated to his quarters. Alone, he allowed his composure to slip, his scales dulling to a muted gray. On his datapad, he pulled up an image of his family back on ETX Prime, his mate, Silva, and their clutch of hatchlings. He had promised to return to them. He had to find a way. Hours passed, each moment bringing them closer to their doom. The mood on the bridge grew increasingly desperate as every attempt to boost their signal or extend their supplies met with failure. Just as Valrek was about to give up hope, Eris' excited voice cut through the gloom. "Captain, I found something." Solar rushed to the communications station, his scales flickering with a hint of hope. "What is it?" "Eris, it's an old frequency, ancient really. I almost missed it, but it's still active. Our signal might just be strong enough to reach it." Solar felt a surge of excitement. "Do it. Send out the distress call. At this point, we have nothing to lose." Eris' tentacles danced over the console, composing and sending their desperate plea into the void coordinates, the nature of their emergency, and a plea for assistance in any form. As the signal pulsed out into space, Valrek addressed his crew. "Now we wait." And hope. Little did Captain Solar know, their call for help was about to be answered in a way that would challenge everything the Galactic Union thought they knew. Days passed, with hope dwindling with each passing hour. The crew had begun to resign themselves to their fate when, suddenly, the sensors erupted with activity. Captain Syraxis called out, her voice tinged with disbelief. "I'm detecting a ship approaching at incredible speed." Solar's crest rose in excitement. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the entire crew speechless. Approaching them was a vessel unlike anything they had ever seen. It was massive, easily dwarfing their own ship, with sleek lines and glowing engines that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "By the cosmic egg," Valrek whispered, his scales shifting through a rainbow of colors in rapid succession. What manner of beings could have built such a ship before anyone could respond? The communications panel lit up with an incoming transmission. Eris hesitated for a moment before accepting the call. A voice, clear and strong, filled the bridge. "Unidentified vessel. This is Captain Alara Quinn of the Earthship Horizon. We received your distress call. How can we assist you?" The crew of the Celestial Voyager exchanged looks of confusion and awe. Earth. They had never heard of such a world or its people, yet here they were, answering a call on an ancient frequency and arriving in a ship that defied their understanding of technology. Valrek stepped forward, drawing himself up to his full height. "This is Captain Valrek Solar of the Celestial Voyager. We are in dire need of assistance. Our quantum drive has failed, and our life support systems are critical." There was a brief pause before Captain Quinn's voice returned, filled with warmth and reassurance. "Understood, Captain Solar. We're preparing to dock with your vessel. Our engineers will assist with repairs, and we have ample supplies to replenish your life support. Please stand by." As the Horizon maneuvered into position, Solar turned to his crew, seeing his own mix of relief and trepidation reflected in their faces. They were about to make first contact with an unknown species, one that seemed to possess technology far beyond their own. The docking procedure was a marvel of precision and technology. Captain Solar watched in awe as the massive Earthship, Horizon, seamlessly connected with the Celestial Voyager. The difference in size between the two vessels was staggering. The Horizon could have easily housed a dozen ships like theirs. As the airlock cycled, Valrek and his senior staff gathered to greet their rescuers. His scales shimmered with a mix of excitement and apprehension. First contact situations were always delicate, and this one was unprecedented in the history of the Galactic Union. The airlock hissed open, and Captain Alara Quinn stepped through, followed by a small delegation. Valrek's 4 eyes widened in surprise. The humans were bipedal, with soft, hairless skin in various shades of brown and pink. They lacked any obvious natural defenses: no claws, no scales, no venomous glands. Yet there was an unmistakable air of confidence about them. Captain Quinn smiled warmly, her dark eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Captain Solar, I presume. I'm Alara Quinn. It's an honor to meet you." Valrek bowed his head slightly, a universal gesture of respect. "The honor is ours, Captain Quinn. Your timely arrival has saved us from certain doom. We are eternally grateful." As the two captains exchanged formal greetings, the human engineers were already moving past them, carrying equipment and chattering excitedly about the alien technology they were about to encounter. "If you don't mind," one of the engineers called out, a young woman with vibrant red hair. "We'd like to take a look at your quantum drive. We might be able to get you up and running in no time." Syraxis, Valrek's first officer, bristled slightly at the human's casual demeanor. "Our technology is highly advanced," she said, a hint of pride in her voice. "I'm not sure if—" "Oh, don't worry," the red-haired engineer grinned, already halfway down the corridor. "We love a good challenge." Captain Quinn chuckled at her crew's enthusiasm. "You'll have to forgive them. The chance to study new technology is like a holiday for our engineers." She turned back to Valrek. "Now, why don't you tell me more about your mission?" As they made their way to the Celestial Voyager's conference room, Valrek couldn't help but marvel at the humans' adaptability. They seemed completely unfazed by the diverse alien physiology of his crew, treating each species with the same friendly curiosity. Once seated, Valrek began to explain their mission of exploration, the malfunctions that had stranded them, and the distress call they had sent out on the ancient frequency. "Ah, yes." Captain Quinn nodded. "That particular frequency is part of an old Earth protocol. We've kept it active for centuries just in case. I guess it finally paid off." Eris, the communications officer, oozed forward slightly. "But how did you respond so quickly from such a great distance?" Quinn's eyes sparkled with pride. "The Horizon is equipped with an experimental faster-than-light drive. We can cover vast distances in a fraction of the time it takes conventional ships." The alien crew exchanged looks of astonishment. FTL technology was theoretical at best in the Galactic Union, yet here were these humans casually mentioning it as if it were commonplace. "But enough about us," Quinn continued. "We're more interested in learning about you and the Galactic Union. We had no idea there was such a vast community of spacefaring species out here." For the next few hours, they exchanged information. Valrek spoke of the dozens of species that made up the Union, their shared history, their laws and customs. In return, Quinn told them about Earth and humanity's rapid ascent to the stars. "We were confined to our solar system for centuries," she explained, "but once we cracked FTL travel, there was no stopping us. We've been exploring ever since, always pushing further into the unknown." As they talked, reports started coming in from around the ship. The human engineers, working alongside the Celestial Voyager's crew, were making astounding progress. Systems that had been on the brink of failure were now humming with renewed energy. First Officer Syraxis burst into the conference room, her scales flushed with excitement. "The humans. They've not only repaired our quantum drive, they've improved it. We're detecting a 30% increase in efficiency." Valrek's crest rose in surprise. "How is that possible?" Captain Quinn smiled. "As I said, our engineers love a challenge. They probably couldn't resist tinkering a bit." The implications of this were staggering. In a matter of hours, these humans had not only understood but improved upon technology that had taken the Union centuries to develop. As the day wore on, more and more of the Celestial Voyager's crew found excuses to interact with the humans. They were fascinated by these strange beings who seemed to approach every problem with boundless enthusiasm and creativity. In the ship's mess hall, a human chef had taken over the kitchen, whipping up dishes that catered to the diverse biological needs of the alien crew. In the recreation area, humans and aliens alike were engaged in animated conversations, sharing stories and comparing cultures. Valrek watched it all with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The ease with which the humans had integrated themselves was both impressive and slightly unsettling. They seemed to have a knack for putting others at ease, for finding common ground even with species that looked nothing like them. As the repair work neared completion, Captain Quinn approached Valrek. "Well, Captain, it looks like your ship will be spaceworthy again in a few hours. We'd be happy to escort you back to Union space." Valrek's scales rippled with gratitude. "Your generosity knows no bounds, Captain Quinn. But I must ask, what do you want in return for all this?" Quinn's smile widened. "Knowledge, Captain. The opportunity to learn about new cultures, new technologies, new ways of thinking. That's always been humanity's driving force." Curiosity. Valrek considered this. Before he could respond, alarms suddenly blared throughout both ships. Syrax's voice came over the comm system, tight with urgency. "Captain, we're detecting multiple vessels approaching at high speed. They're not responding to hails, and their weapons are hot." Valrek and Quinn exchanged a look of shared concern. Their newfound alliance was about to face its first test, and the fate of both their crews hung in the balance. As they rushed to their respective bridges, Valrek couldn't help but wonder, would human ingenuity be enough to face this new threat? The bridge of the Celestial Voyager erupted into a flurry of activity as Valrek burst through the doors. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a terrifying sight: a swarm of sleek, predatory ships cutting through the void of space, their weapons primed and ready. "Report," Valrek barked, his scales flickering between hues of alarm and determination. Syrax's fingers danced across her console. "7 vessels, Captain. Configuration unknown. They're not in any Union database." The comm system crackled to life, and Captain Quinn's voice filled the bridge. "Captain Solar, are you seeing this?" "Affirmative, Captain Quinn." "Any ideas?" There was a pause before Quinn replied, her voice tinged with a mix of excitement and concern. "We've never encountered this species before, but their ship design, it's reminiscent of old Earth legends. Pirates." Valrek's crest flattened against his head. "Pirates? Out here, in uncharted space?" "Space is big," Captain Quinn responded. "There are always corners where lawlessness can thrive. But don't worry, the Horizon was built for situations like this." As if on cue, the massive human ship, Horizon, began to move, positioning itself between the Celestial Voyager and the approaching threat. Valrek watched in awe as panels along the Horizon's hull slid open, revealing an impressive array of weaponry. The lead pirate ship, a vicious-looking vessel bristling with gun ports, hailed them. The view screen filled with the image of a being unlike any Valrek had ever seen. It was reptilian in nature, with a head full of writhing tentacles and eyes that glowed with an eerie bioluminescent light. Well, the creature hissed, its voice translated through the ship's systems. "What do we have here?" "A crippled ship and its knight in shining armor." How quaint. Valrek stepped forward, drawing himself up to his full height. "I am Captain Valrek Solar of the Galactic Union. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration." "We mean you no harm." The pirate captain's tentacles writhed in what might have been amusement. "The Union? Never heard of it. But I'm sure whatever you're carrying will fetch a nice price on the black market. Surrender now, and we might let you live." Before Valrek could respond, Captain Quinn's voice cut in, calm and authoritative. "This is Captain Alara Quinn of the Earthship Horizon. The vessel you're threatening is under our protection. I strongly suggest you reconsider your actions." The pirate's glowing eyes narrowed. "Earth, another unknown. You're a long way from home, little ones. Last chance, surrender or be destroyed." Quinn's reply was swift and decisive. "I don't think you understand the situation you're in. Allow me to clarify." Suddenly, the Horizon's engines flared to life. The massive ship moved with a speed and agility that seemed impossible for its size. In a matter of seconds, it had positioned itself directly above the pirate fleet. "Holy cosmic egg," Syraxis whispered, her eyes wide with astonishment. The pirate captain's confidence visibly faltered. "What manner of trickery is this?" Quinn's voice was firm. "This is humanity's response to threats against our friends. Stand down now or face the consequences." For a tense moment, silence reigned. Then, with a snarl of frustration, the pirate captain gave the order to attack. What followed was a display of combat prowess that left the crew of the Celestial Voyager speechless. The horizon moved like a dancer among the stars, its advanced shielding absorbing enemy fire while its own weapons struck with surgical precision. One by one, the pirate ships were disabled, their engines and weapons rendered inoperable without a single life lost. In a matter of minutes, it was over. The pirate fleet hung motionless in space, thoroughly outmatched and outgunned. Captain Quinn's face appeared on the view screen, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Captain Solar, are you and your crew all right?" Valrek nodded, his scales shimmering with a mix of relief and awe. "We are unharmed, thanks to you." I don't know how to express our gratitude." Quinn waved off his thanks. "It's what friends do. Now, shall we deal with our uninvited guests over the next few hours?" The humans demonstrated yet another aspect of their culture that fascinated the Union crew. Rather than destroying or abandoning the disabled pirate ships, they insisted on boarding them, providing medical aid to the injured and taking the rest into custody. "We'll drop them off at the nearest lawful outpost," Quinn explained. Everyone deserves a chance at rehabilitation. As the cleanup operation continued, Valrek found himself in a quiet corner of his ship, deep in thought. The events of the past day had shaken his worldview to its core. These humans, unknown to the Union mere days ago, possessed technology and capabilities that surpassed anything he had ever seen. Yet they wielded this power with a sense of responsibility and compassion that was truly admirable. Syraxis slithered up beside him, her scales reflecting his pensive mood. "Captain, what are we going to do?" "The Union needs to know about the humans," Valrek nodded slowly. "Indeed they do, Syraxis. But I fear the news may not be welcomed by all. The humans' capabilities, they could upset the balance of power in the galaxy." Syraxis' eyes narrowed. "Do you think they pose a threat?" Valrek watched as a team of human engineers, laughing and joking, worked alongside his crew to salvage useful technology from the pirate ships. "No," he said finally, "I don't believe they do. But they will change everything. The question is, are we ready for that change?" As if in answer to his question, Captain Quinn approached, a data pad in her hand and an excited gleam in her eye. "Captain Solar, I hope I'm not interrupting. I have a proposal I'd like to discuss with you, one that could change the future of both our peoples." Valrek's crest rose in curiosity. "I'm listening." Captain Quinn. As Quinn began to outline her idea, Valrek realized that this was just the beginning. The galaxy, as they knew it, was about to change, and humanity would be at the heart of that transformation. Whether that change would lead to a new era of peace and prosperity, or to conflict and chaos, remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: life in the Galactic Union would never be the same again. The journey back to Union space was filled with a palpable sense of anticipation. Captain Solar spent much of his time in deep discussion with Captain Quinn, exchanging knowledge and laying the groundwork for what both hoped would be a lasting alliance between their peoples. As they approached the outer reaches of Union territory, Valrek couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and trepidation. He was about to introduce a species that could revolutionize galactic society. The potential for advancement was enormous, but so too was the potential for upheaval. "We're receiving a hail from Starbase Omega," Syraxis announced, her voice tinged with excitement. "They're requesting an explanation for our prolonged absence," and her scales paled slightly. "They're demanding to know the identity of our escort." Valrek straightened his posture, his crest rising in determination. "Put them through." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of Admiral Vorantirik, his tentacles writhing with barely contained agitation. "Captain Solar, you've been out of contact for weeks. Explain yourself immediately, and what in the name of the cosmic egg is that behemoth accompanying you?" Taking a deep breath, Valrek launched into an explanation of their harrowing ordeal and miraculous rescue. As he spoke, he could see the Admiral's expression shift from anger to disbelief, and finally to wary curiosity. "Humans," Admiral Tyrek interrupted. "You're telling me there's an advanced spacefaring species the Union has never encountered?" "That's correct," Admiral Valrek confirmed. "And they've expressed a strong desire for peaceful contact and cultural exchange." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "I see. Well, Captain, you and your guests are to report to Starbase Omega immediately for debriefing. Tyrek out." As the transmission cut off, Captain Quinn's voice came through the comm system. "Well, that seemed to go about as well as expected. Your Admiral didn't look too thrilled." Valrek's scales rippled with amusement. "Admiral Tyrek isn't known for his warm welcomes, but don't worry. Once the Union Council hears of your actions, I'm sure they'll be more receptive." How wrong he was. The next few days were a whirlwind of debriefings, diplomatic meetings, and barely concealed tension. While many in the Union were fascinated by the humans and eager to learn from them, others viewed them with suspicion and fear. The council chambers buzzed with heated debate. "These humans possess technology far beyond our own," one counselor argued. "How do we know they won't use it against us? They saved one of our ships," another countered. "Surely that proves their peaceful intentions." As the arguments raged on, Valrek and Captain Quinn found themselves increasingly sidelined, watching helplessly as fear and political maneuvering threatened to derail the budding alliance. It was during one such tense council session that everything changed. Alarms blared throughout the starbase, cutting off the debates mid-sentence. Admiral Tyrek burst into the chamber, his usual composure shattered. "We're under attack," he announced, his tentacles whipping about in agitation. "Multiple hostiles have entered the system. They've already destroyed our outer defenses." The council erupted into chaos. Amid the panic, Captain Quinn stepped forward, her voice cutting through the din. "Admiral, with your permission, the Horizon stands ready to assist in the defense of this station." Tyrek hesitated for a moment, his pride warring with the desperate need for aid. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Captain. Show us what your ship can do." As they rushed to their respective vessels, Valrek fell into step beside Quinn. "Any ideas who we're up against?" Quinn's expression was grim. "I have a hunch, but I hope I'm wrong." As they reached the docking bay, a junior officer rushed up to them, his scales pale with fear. "Captains, long-range scans have identified the hostile forces. It's the swarm." Valrek felt his heart sink. The swarm. A hive-mind species of insectoid aliens that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but barren husks in their wake. They were the stuff of nightmares, a threat the Union had thought long vanquished. "Impossible," Valrek whispered. "We drove them back decades ago. They shouldn't have the numbers for an attack like this." Quinn's eyes narrowed. "Unless they've been building their forces in secret all this time, waiting for the right moment to strike." As they boarded their ships and rushed to join the battle, the full scale of the threat became apparent. Hundreds of swarm vessels filled the space around Starbase Omega, their organic ships pulsing with an otherworldly light as they tore through the Union's defenses. "This is worse than I imagined," Valrek muttered, watching as another Union cruiser erupted into flames. Quinn's voice came through the comm, steady and determined. "We've faced worse odds before, Captain. The Horizon is moving to engage. I suggest you focus on evacuating the station while we buy you some time." As the massive human ship surged forward, its advanced weapons blazing, Valrek couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Perhaps with the humans at their side, they stood a chance against this overwhelming force. But even as the Horizon carved a path through the swarm ships, more kept coming. It was becoming clear that this was no mere raid, it was a full-scale invasion. In the midst of the chaos, a priority transmission cut through the battle chatter. It was Admiral Tyrek, his voice grave. "All ships, be advised. We're receiving reports of swarm attacks across Union space. Multiple worlds are under siege. This is war." The weight of those words settled over the bridge of the celestial Voyager like a shroud. They weren't just fighting for a starbase or a single system. The fate of the entire Union, perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As Valrek coordinated evacuation efforts and Quinn's Horizon continued its valiant defense, a chilling realization dawned on him: the swarm's return and the humans' timely arrival couldn't be mere coincidence. Somehow, these events were connected. But how? And more importantly, would they unravel the mystery in time to save the galaxy from the chitinous tide that threatened to engulf it? As another wave of swarm ships entered the system, Valrek steeled himself for the fight of his life. Whatever the coming hours might bring, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of destruction against the backdrop of stars. The Horizon, under Captain Quinn's skilled command, was a beacon of hope amidst the devastation, its advanced weaponry carving swaths through the swarm's forces. Yet for every swarm ship destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. On the bridge of the celestial Voyager, Captain Solar coordinated the evacuation efforts, his scales a constant flux of colors reflecting the tension of the moment. "Status report," he barked. Serax's fingers flew over her console. "Starbase Omega is at 60% evacuation, Captain, but we're losing ships faster than we can get people out." At this rate, she didn't need to finish the sentence. They all knew what was at stake. Suddenly, Quinn's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain Solar, I think I've figured something out. Can you get Admiral Tyrek on the line? He needs to hear this moments later." The Admiral's harried face appeared on the view screen. "Make it quick, Captain Quinn. We're fighting for our lives here." Quinn's eyes gleamed with the fire of discovery. "Admiral, we've been analyzing the swarm's attack patterns. There's a logic to their movements, a central coordination. If we can disrupt that." Tyrek's tentacles writhed skeptically. "We've tried that before, Captain. The swarm's hive mind is too decentralized. There's no single point of failure, that's just it." Sir Quinn pressed on. "We think there is. Our quantum sensors are picking up unusual tachyon emissions from one of the larger swarm ships. It's subtle, easy to miss if you're not looking for it, but it could be the key to their coordination." Valrek leaned forward, his crest rising in excitement. "A command ship. But how do we exploit this information? Our weapons can barely dent their smaller vessels." Quinn's smile was grim but determined. "Leave that to us." If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. For every comment that says, we will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.